Hey everyone, welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today into Fernanda Torres,
Oh, yeah.
a Brazilian actress you might know her from.
Oh, wow.
I'm Still Here. She was nominated for an Oscar for that one.
That's right.
And the source material that we're looking at today is a recent interview she did with Jessica Chastain.
Yes, for Interview magazine.
Right, and I just love this interview because it's two actresses talking to each other. So
Exactly. It's not like a journalist interviewing an actor. It's,
Right.
peers. It's colleagues.
It's peers, and there's a lot of mutual admiration
Yes.
going on, and you can really feel that.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to jump into this one.
Yeah, and they kind of hit on how both of them had to forge their own path in Hollywood.
Yes.
Torres talks about becoming a writer at age 30
Right.
because she was tired of waiting for good roles.
And she wanted to take control.
Yes, exactly. Have agency
Yes.
over her career, tell her own stories.
And, Chastain even had a similar experience where she had to kind of go out and create her own opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's like they both had to take ownership of their careers.
yeah,
Especially as women in this industry, that can be so fickle.
absolutely. And, speaking of powerful stories, let's get into Torres' latest film, I'm Still Here.
Yes. Set during the backdrop of Brazil's military dictatorship in the 70s,
Wow.
a time of intense political repression and social unrest.
And Torres plays Eunice, a woman whose husband is abducted by the regime.
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting a lot of praise for this role, for its authenticity and emotional depth.
Yes, and Torres talks about how she wanted to avoid melodrama and really capture that quiet strength of a woman facing unimaginable circumstances.
And it's very nuanced, and she even compares her role to Greek tragedy
That's right.
and how it's about enduring suffering
Yeah.
with resilience and dignity.
Like the tragic heroes in those plays.
So can you elaborate on that connection for those of us that maybe haven't brushed up on our Greek tragedies recently?
Yeah. Sure, in Greek tragedies, the heroes often face incredible suffering, but they kind of maintain this noble stoicism
Right.
in the face of fate.
Okay.
And similarly, Torres doesn't, rely on these over-the-top emotional displays
Right.
to convey Eunice's pain.
Got it.
She uses subtle facial expressions, controlled movements, a quiet intensity in her eyes
Oh, wow.
to show her inner turmoil.
Wow.
It's a masterclass in restraint.
So it's like she's using her whole body to tell the story, not just her voice.
Exactly.
And she also mentioned working with a coach for months.
Yes.
To prepare for this role. Can you tell us a little bit more about that process?
Sure, it's clear that Torres is very dedicated to realism in her acting.
Yeah.
She talked about creating a detailed backstory for Eunice,
Okay.
imagining her life before the abduction, her hopes, her dreams, her relationship with her husband.
Wow.
She even spent time in silence
Oh, wow.
to try to understand the isolation and fear that Eunice may have experienced.
Wow, that's a level of commitment you don't always see.
It's like she completely immersed herself in the character's world.
Yeah, and it sounds like the director Walter Salles was a perfect match for her on this project because he's also known for his meticulous attention to detail.
Absolutely. Torres mentions how Sal's was incredibly specific on set,
Oh, wow.
making sure everything from the costumes to the props to the locations felt authentic to the period.
And they both talk about how this film, even though it's set in the past, resonates with a lot of present-day anxieties.
Yeah, like the feeling that the world's on the brink of disaster.
Yeah.
Something that many people felt during the Cold War era and that we feel today given, what's happening.
Absolutely.
Torres believes that the best local stories, ones that are really rooted in a time and place, become universal because they tap into those shared human anxieties.
It makes you wonder how her own upbringing in Brazil
Right.
during such a turbulent time might have shaped her perspective on this role.
That's a great point.
So let's shift our focus for a moment to something else that they discussed that I found really fascinating.
Right.
And that was their perspectives on women in film then and now.
Yes.
And I was especially struck by Torres' critique of what she calls the men are idiots trope
Yes.
that often accompanies portrayals of strong women,
She acknowledges that there are more opportunities for women in film now,
which is great.
which is fantastic. But she's concerned that in an attempt to portray female characters as strong,
Yeah.
male characters are sometimes reduced to these very simplistic, often incompetent figures.
Right.
It's like she's saying true equality means portraying both genders with complexity
Yeah.
and depth.
And acknowledging their strengths and weaknesses without relying on those stereotypes.
Exactly. And she argues that this type of portrayal is more reflective of real life,
Yes.
where relationships are complex and
Right.
characters are multifaceted.
So we've covered a lot of ground already, from Torres' Oscar-nominated performance to her views on storytelling. to the evolution of women's roles in film.
It's been a lot.
What else can we expect as we continue this deep dive?
Well, in the next part of the conversation, she opens up about her decision to become a writer, her love for theater, and her unique acting process.
Okay.
And we'll get to delve deeper into her personal experiences.
I can't wait.
And how they've shaped her artistic vision.
I'm already hooked.
Me too.
It's just amazing to hear her perspective on the craft of acting and the power of storytelling, especially through this conversation with another great artist.
Yes, it is.
Listening to Torres talk about her craft makes me think about just the level of commitment.
Oh, yeah.
It takes to be a successful actor.
Both Torres and Chastain, they have incredible work ethic.
It's unbelievable.
Remember how Chastain said she used to make 5 films a year?
5 films a year. That's
go.
unbelievable. Do they ever burn out?
Right. How do they find the energy and inspiration
Exactly.
to keep going?
Right.
Well, it's something they talk about a little bit. Okay.
Torres talks about being a mom. She's got 4 boys.
Oh, wow.
And juggling motherhood with her acting career.
Right.
She even jokes with Chastain that, sleep is her top priority now their kids are older.
It's refreshing to hear these accomplished women talk about balancing family life with such a demanding career.
Exactly. It just reminds us that they face the same
Yes.
everyday struggles as the rest of us.
Exactly. They're human.
They are.
They are.
But even with all that, it's clear that their passion for art really drives them.
For sure. And I was very intrigued by Torres's excitement about her upcoming projects.
Oh, yeah.
She's working on a 6-chapter series.
Yes.
Set in Brazil, and then a mockumentary with her mother.
Which sounds hilarious.
Right.
It's great that she's found that balance between acting and writing, creating her own opportunities.
Yes.
And even though Chastain, admits to feeling a little burnt out, she's still drawn to these challenging roles. She wants to do some Ibsen plays.
Yeah. She's not slowing down.
Not at all.
It's inspiring to see. It is, and I think that dedication comes from a deep love for their craft.
Yeah.
Torres, she loves acting, but she also loves writing and theater.
And speaking of theater, she makes a really interesting distinction.
She does.
Between the two, she describes theater as being actor-centric,
Yeah.
while film is much more collaborative.
Right. The final product belongs to the director
And the producer.
and the producers.
But she sees value in both.
yes, she does.
She credits her theater training for instilling in her the discipline, the memorization skills, and understanding of language that led her to become a writer.
That's so interesting how one informs the other.
It is. And, she even jokes about how doing a one-woman show
Yes.
based on a book about a 70-year-old woman's sex life gave her a whole new appreciation for storytelling.
Oh, wow.
She seems to embrace all these experiences no matter how unconventional.
She does.
And she seems very clear on what she wants.
Remember her response when Chastain asks her if she's interested in directing?
Yeah.
She basically laughs and says,
No, I have nothing to say.
I don't know where to put the camera. I'd be totally lost.
That's right. And I love that it's just so honest
It is.
and self-aware. And she knows her strengths lie in embodying characters.
Yeah, like she says, we are the instruments. We are our own piano.
Yes.
Such a great way to put
I love that metaphor.
it. Me too.
It just highlights the transformative power of acting.
Stepping into different shoes, exploring a range of emotions and experiences.
And this transformative power is something that she embraces fully.
She does.
She believes that inhabiting these different characters can lead to personal growth
Yes.
and a deeper understanding of the human condition.
Like empathy training.
Yeah.
Expanding your emotional range.
So fascinating to hear her talk about acting.
Yeah, it's not about fame or recognition. It's about
Right.
using your craft as a tool for exploration and self-discovery.
It makes you wonder how her own upbringing in a family of artists, her life in Brazil, all of it shaped her work.
Right, and her worldview.
What else did they discuss about her personal life? So I'm really curious to hear more about Torres' upbringing.
Yeah.
Did she talk about how growing up in a family of artists influenced her path?
She did.
Especially, with her mother being Fernanda Montenegro.
Yeah, she touched upon it.
The legend.
You get the sense that her childhood was really steeped in art and culture.
Right.
She talks about how her mother instilled in her this love for storytelling
Right.
and a deep respect for the craft of acting.
And her mother was all about realism
Exact.
and portraying strong, complex women.
Yes, you can see that influence in Torres' work for sure.
And now with Torres' Oscar nom,
I know.
It's like she's carrying on that tradition,
It's a beautiful thing to see.
and she's making her own mark on the world stage.
It really speaks to the universality of her story.
Yes.
I mean, here's a woman who grew up in a very specific cultural context,
right.
but her experiences as an artist, as a woman, as a mother,
Yes.
resonate with people from all walks of life.
It's those shared human experiences that connect us all.
Exact.
And that's what makes art so powerful.
It transcends borders and cultures.
Yes.
It speaks to something deeper within us.
And, her insights into her acting process, her emphasis on realism,
Yeah.
her willingness to really go deep
Right.
emotionally with her characters.
Yeah.
Those are valuable lessons.
They are.
For anyone, really, not just actors.
It's about tapping into that wellspring of human experience.
And using your craft to illuminate the truth for others.
It's a journey that requires constant learning and exploration.
Yes.
Pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone.
And both Torres and Chastain embody that.
They do.
They do.
And they emphasize the importance of taking control of your career.
And creating your own opportunity.
They didn't just wait for things to happen.
Yeah, they made things happen.
They did.
That's a powerful message.
It is. It's
Okay.
about owning your talent, your
Yeah.
vision, your voice.
It's so easy to get caught up in all the glamour of Hollywood. But this conversation really gets to the heart of it.
It does. It's about passion and dedication.
And finding those connections with mentors
Collaborators, people that inspire you.
and challenge you.
The admiration between Torres and Chastain is a beautiful reminder that we can achieve great things when we support each other.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Fernanda Torres,
Yes.
what's the one takeaway you hope our listeners will carry with them?
Everyone has a story to tell.
Yes.
We're all shaped by our experiences, our heritage, our unique perspectives.
Right.
And those stories, when expressed authentically,
Yeah.
with passion, have the power to connect us, inspire us, and make the world a richer, more vibrant place.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
So to our listener, we leave you with this. What's your story?
What are the experiences that have shaped you?
And how can you use your voice, your talents, your unique perspective to contribute to the world?
Keep exploring, keep creating, and keep sharing your story with the world.
That's it for our deep dive. We hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as we did.
We did.
Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.